a Build Hatch developed production.
Hello, I'm Aaron Kyle and welcome to another episode of Build Hatch. On this week's episode of Build Hatch, I got to sit down with Sam from Wilks Building Group in Adelaide. Sam is our first guest on the show from South Australia, and I really enjoyed my chat with Sam. I think it's only fitting that this is the final episode of 2021 because it's been such a crazy year for all, and I particularly enjoyed covering almost everything in the day in the life of a builder or a subby. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what kind of construction business you're working in, it was such an insightful chat, and this episode provides a lot of insight into exactly that. Like I said, Sam and I covered a lot of ground, so let's get into it. So Sam from Wilks Building Group in Adelaide, welcome to Build Hatch.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
This is a good one. So we're recording this in Adelaide, and you're well known for doing some really high-end premium architectural builds here in Adelaide. So always like to go back on, I guess, history and find out how you got into the building industry. Yeah, did you always grow up here in Adelaide?
Yeah, I've been here my whole life. So, yeah, went to school here at Westminster and, yeah, been here the whole time.
What was it like growing up here in Adelaide?
Yeah, it was really good. It's like a big country town. So, yeah, got a great group of mates and, yeah, it's awesome place to be. So, love it.
It's such a cool city. Like, it's completely underrated, Adelaide. A lot of people, have a certain perception of Adelaide, and it's such a smart city. And it's quite similar to Melbourne in that it's built off a basic grid.
Yeah, that's it.
And so getting around the city, for the people who are listening to this who haven't been to Adelaide, you've got to check it out because the whole city's built very smartly and intelligently on how the network works, the access, the infrastructure, like really well done.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's only, our furthest job is half an hour away. So, yeah, driving through traffic in the afternoon is not even that bad. So, yeah, it's really good.
And even traffic is nothing compared to anywhere else.
Yeah, well, I haven't experienced over in Sydney, but yeah.
So what was it like growing up? Were you a sort of studious kid, or were you sort of aspiring to do other things? How did you sort of go down the building path?
Well, I went down the building path because, I was going in from year 11 to year 12, and Mum knew that I wasn't going to go to uni, and she knew that I was going to have a party year in year 12, so she pushed me into going to do a school-based apprenticeship. So changed schools and then, went down there and did year 12 and started my apprenticeship with a framing gang.
So explain how that works, because there's so many different systems. And I think going back a long time, it sort of started life as doing one practical subject that would contribute towards your apprenticeship. But then I think it's morphed now where, like you just said, you can actually do a particular program where it's a whole year of your apprenticeship basically.
Yeah, that's right. So in year 10 I did like a doorways to construction, and then from that in year 12 it was one day for every year of year 12, and then the 4 other days were out on site working. So they tailored it to your apprenticeship, so it was more practical than anything. So, but yeah, very glad I did it because it was a lot easier to do Cert 4 after that and then get my builder's license. So yeah, it was a smart move by Mum.
I'd have to say it's probably the coolest way of doing year 12 you can possibly imagine, I reckon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Still got to go to schoolies and got the tick, so it was good.
You started life off sort of in timber framing?
Yeah, so I was in a gang of 8 guys, and we used to knock up frames every day for Hickenbotham Homes. So yeah, we do probably a 230 square metre house, full cut roof in one day. So yeah, we were down in Seaford Rise, which is a big development, and nearly spent a whole year of my first year of my apprenticeship down there, just nailing frames together every day on the drop saw, cutting continuously.
So what's the production aspect of putting up frames every day? Like, are you guys told this is our expectation with putting so many frames up a day, or how does it work?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I guess you just get to site. There'd be 2 guys marking, 1 guy cutting straps, 1 guy on the drop saw straight away, 2 guys cutting lintel studs, and then away you go. Everybody would have their job and role, and then, you just smack it up, and roof is up, windows are in, done. On to the next one.
Go.
Yeah, go. Exactly. So especially working for a spec home company, the rates aren't that great, so the boss is onto you, hurry up. So yeah, it's a good way to learn quickly how to use drop saws and circular saws and all that sort of stuff.
The way that works is it's a high turnover, low margin game.
Definitely.
So it's just let's go, boys, let's get into it, let's smash it out. And if someone's not performing, because you are a part of that group of a gang of 8, like you said, if someone drops the ball, it really hurts the team.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly.
Did you enjoy that, working in that sort of
Yeah, I
fast-paced
loved
team
it. It just
environment?
yeah, yeah, it teaches you how to work fast, and everybody was laughing and having a good day. So yeah, it was good. It was good to be a part of. So.
And so what did you do after that?
So I was there for another 6 months, and then ended up changing over to another company that was a little bit smaller, still doing framing. And then we ended up going up to Kadina, which is like in the country, and started building frames up there, which is where I met my leading hand and one of my good mates that still works for me now. So and started working with him for probably 6 to 12 months, and then I ended up moving over to one of my best mates' dads to start doing general building. So doing a completely different thing altogether.
All right, so what about leading into Wilks Building Group, which
Yeah.
is clearly named after you? So
Yeah.
how did that come about? What were you sort of thinking and the
Well,
thought process with that?
yeah. So, well, I started Wilks Carpentry actually. So, I left my old boss that was a general builder, and then so I got an opportunity with another builder that he asked for 2 carpenters to come out and work for him, basically doing all of his work, first and second fix. So, got the opportunity to become a subcontractor carpenter. So, started with Wilks Carpentry, just Tom and myself, and then moving on from that started got an apprentice because we started getting busier and busier, and then yeah, it just gradually grew, and then we changed it to Wilks Build and Construct, which was more general building stuff, and then got the opportunity to do a few more high profile jobs. So yeah, I thought Wilks Building Group sounds a lot more high end, so that's what we went for. So just branded it differently.
So I take it you were working here in Adelaide as a chippy, basically a
Yep.
carpenter, and then you then went on to obtain your builder's license.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, I had to do my Cert 4, as I said before. So that's a full 2 years of night school, a couple of nights a week, just learning about all the different trades and different aspects of construction. You have to do like your legal course as well, and then you have to do a bit of an accounting course all wrapped up into that. And then I applied for my general builder's license. So I've got a fully unrestricted license with subcontractors and contractors. So yeah, can
Yeah,
perform
so it's
any
fairly
building task.
similar to
Yeah,
Victoria and New South Wales. Similar
yeah, that's it.
process, similar amount of time.
Yeah,
So what was that like, sort of doing that at night and working full time?
yeah, it was pretty hectic. So yeah, but it was a good feeling. Like I passed it the first time with the guy because I was just reading up on pretty much everything, and a couple of the things they quiz you on is waterproofing and concreting, and I've done a bit of that. So yeah, I was really fortunate that he asked me those. So yeah, we went through and spoke about everything, and he said, yeah, you nailed everything. So here you go, here's your full license. So which was a pretty proud moment, definitely.
I'm imagining Sam, the carpenter, the team working together as chippies. You're then obtaining your builder's license. So how did you, I guess, make the move from carpentry crew over to builder crew? Like how did you do that? Because there's a lot of people listening to this who working away, working as a chippy, and they're dreaming of getting their builder's license so they can go work for themselves as a builder.
Yeah.
But it takes a bit of time and it takes a bit of effort to transition over across to that. So how did you do that?
Well, we're still working for another builder, and then started getting small projects, and gradually building up. So we had a couple of small renovations that we were doing, and then a couple of little shop fit outs. So we're always just doing different trades like plasterboarding and those sorts of things, just
So
showing the
these,
boys all different things to
yeah,
do.
so these could be clients, I guess, reaching out directly to you
Yeah.
saying, I need some carpentry work.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And then we're saying, yeah, well, we can do that for you as well. Yeah, we can organise that, and then just gradually progressing through.
Yeah,
So
so it's like a transition to take over different trades, Can you do this? Can you do that? And then all of a sudden you
yeah,
become the builder.
that's right. And I guess with even doing like pergolas and those sorts of things, you start doing the roof sheeting, and you start progressing that way, and anything else that you need to be doing there. So
Did eventually the builder's hat take over from the carpenter's hat?
yeah, I guess I've sort of got to I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I want to always be progressing in everything that we do. So I sort of started reaching out to a lot of architects and just ringing and saying, "Oh, have you got any work for me to tender on?" And just kept pushing the envelope that way. And then I was fortunate enough to start pricing a few projects, and a couple dropped. They came and saw me as well. So through referrals from carpentry works, they said, "Look, they do a bit of building as well. Go and see them." And yeah, it just went from there. So
Now, I have this conversation regularly with young builders, particularly, and we talk about that first step going from, I guess, the opportunity coming your way, where you mentioned about ringing up an architect or coming across an architect, and then suddenly they say, "Okay, here's an opportunity. You can price it."
yeah.
What did you do? Take me through that, of how that first sort of opportunity that you got to price it. How did you do it?
Well, we were fortunate enough before we went to the architects, we had a client come to us and, I just got my builder's license and they're like, "Well, we've had the plans designed. We want you to build our house." So basically, that was our first introduction to everything. So, yeah, we broke everything down. Had a consultant that I spoke with just to go, "Look, like, how is the best way to set this out?" We just worked together, for most of that project. And he said, "Look, this is how we do everything here." And yeah, it took me through the whole lot. And then from there, I just built on that pretty much.
So was
So
it completely open book?
no, it wasn't open book, but with the consultant, where he was just working with myself. He's an old retired builder now. And I said, "Look, I just need a bit of help on this first one. Show me how to break it all down." And then, yeah, we've just progressed from there. So writing the schedule and those sorts of things. I feel like I'm pretty organised. So I think that I took to scheduling quite well. So
And what was the margin like? Like, did you sort of think, well, this is an opportunity? Should I go in a bit tight with this? What were you thinking?
yeah, it was definitely tight, and like on the first one, you don't make your millions of dollars and retire. So yeah, but we didn't lose money, which is the best thing about that. So and we had a really cool project as well at the end.
Yeah,
So
that's great. So, still kind of working as a builder, wearing the builder's hat, doing carpentry.
yeah.
How did you sort of grow and expand from there, and how did that happen?
Well, we were fortunate enough, as well as doing carpentry, we worked with a signage company that did a lot of like architectural things in Adelaide as well. So we were fortunate enough to do a big boardwalk down at Summerton Park, which was 150 metres of boardwalk and decking, and had a lot of different cool stuff in that, which applied a lot of different building principles. And then did another big project which was on a bridge, all in a Luca Bond cladding. So and just did a lot from there. So that helped me
So
put
they're
on.
like high traffic areas, basically.
Yeah, that's it. But we wanted that helped me to expand though, because we had a lot of volume of work, so I could have guys on my carpentry stuff, and then they could come back to my building stuff. So it wasn't the case that I needed 5 projects to have 10 guys on the go. We could bridge across both areas.
So you sort of had the foresight to think, we're working in a sort of high traffic area. We'll spend a bit of money and invest in some really cool signage to take advantage of that exposure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then where to from there? Like, did you get inquiries from those projects?
Yeah, we definitely did, and like I'm a big believer in like our Instagram and those sorts of things. So every time we do something really cool, we post it on there, and get people to share it. So I think that's definitely helped us a lot.
Now, we're blessed to have you as our first guest on the show from South Australia here. So it's a real privilege to be sitting here talking to you. I wanted to highlight to people listening to this who we've had the year from hell, which pretty well summarizes how the year's sort of performed. But how have you been able to navigate through that? But more importantly, how do the projects evolve from one project to the other? So was there a particular job where you carried out that marketing and you did the signage and you did the social media, and that's then led on to another really cool project on your books?
Yeah, so we had a project that we recently finished at the start of this year in March, and that was in Unley Park. So it was a single story, sort of mid century modern home that we undertook. And we had this through that architect. We had a few clients coming through having a look at the progress of our work, and then they got to see the finish product at the end. So yeah, that's resulted in a couple more projects, and now we're just completing one just around the corner. The street over, which is another fantastic project. So it all just starts with the one, and that one opportunity, and then it can expand to to 4 or 5 if you treat the client right, and yeah, you have a good relationship with them, because at the end of the day, it's their one thing in their life. It might be this one home in their life that they're going to spend all their time there, and it's their biggest investment. So you've got to treat it right and treat them right through the whole process.
Yeah, so that's really important. I think a lot of builders make this mistake where
Mm.
they wait until the very end of that particular job to show clients through.
Yeah,
Whereas if you actually treat that project as a billboard sign
yeah, exactly.
on one of the busiest roads available, and you've got people driving past it, you've got people walking past it, walking their kids, walking their dogs, whatever it is. And then if you have clients on the side who are potential clients, you're actually able to invite them in to have a look at the project whilst it's being built.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the thing. How I sort of do my Instagram is doing a lot of videos throughout the construction process. So just filming myself a little bit, like Future Flip up in the East Coast. He does it a fair bit, and just documenting like details and how something's built or trades on site, or the concrete's being poured, like being able to see that construction process. So many people love the block now. They just want to be involved in their project as much as possible. So
Yeah, they want to see the skeleton and the bones of the operation, if you like, rather than just the finished product.
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
So tell us about the building industry here in Adelaide. What's been happening here?
It's very busy, definitely, but yeah, I mean, you've got to be as organised as possible now. But even being that organised, deliveries, they say, yeah, it's coming next week, and never comes, and they say, oh, no, it's supply issue, or it's been delayed. So I think that's everybody's favourite word. I'm busy and it's delayed.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or blame COVID.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly right.
So similar process to the other states where you've had to step up and be a lot more organized with
Definitely.
ordering
Yeah.
materials and things like that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Definitely. I know timber's probably the most everybody talks about that. Yeah, that'd be the biggest thing for us. You just can't go down to Bunnings now if you need another 10 sticks of 90 by 35 at 60. You can't do that. You can't even get it straight away from the supplier either. You've got to make sure your quantities are bang on, and yeah, be organised when you exactly need it.
Have you seen sort of an even play in renovations and new buildings? Is that, or is it pretty equal? Like how's it sort of played out?
Well, for us at the moment, we've got mainly renovations on. Next year, we've got a couple of exciting big new homes that we're going to be starting in midway through the year. So I'm really looking forward to them. But at the moment, yeah, we've got large renovations that we're doing. So I mean, my business is fortunate enough that I've got guys that work for me. So I've got 8 guys that work for me, and we do most of the building works, the demo and the carpentry and anything we can throw our hat at to be able to make sure that we're always busy. So I guess from a supply point of view, we're not as impacted as much with the timber side of things. If we've got that, we've got that ready to go, we can still be installing windows or finishing off demo, cutting doorways out, anything really. So
Yeah, look, that's a really important point. And to be fair, I mean, you're operating in sort of a high end part of the market too. So I guess it's a good lesson for anyone that's actually wanting to stray away from renovations.
mm,
Is renovations can be somewhat COVID proof in that you're
yeah,
able to be a bit more flexible with
yeah,
certain
that's right.
things.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they
yeah,
can have challenges with people if people are still living there, but if you're operating on a separate part of the house and things like that, like you said, you can move things around, and if you're getting delays in one aspect of the job, you can work to the other one.
yeah, exactly. It's just all about being adaptable at the moment. Something happens, you've got to go, righto, that's it. Let's move on. Yeah, on to the
Yeah,
next thing.
moving forward.
Yeah,
Just on that, I mean, I get a lot of feedback from guys that are building in the renovation market, and to be fair, the reason a lot of the reason people like to move away from renovations is because building a new home can be somewhat easier in some aspects.
yep.
So, how do you manage the estimating of labor and materials with renovating? Because it's a bit of a challenge in operating in a fixed price environment when
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
working in the renovation market.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess you've got to take it on the home as well. Like a house built in the 70s is different to compared to a house, built at the turn of the century. So, but I mean, yeah, you've got to allow for certain things when you're moving through the renovation and the estimating stage of it. So site inspections is always the best thing, but you don't know what's underneath the floor when you get to it. So yeah, we had a job once when I was working for another builder, and we took up the bathroom floor, and the old builder before us that did the reno decided to put all the asbestos underneath that floor and then fill it in
Yes.
with concrete. So you just don't know. You can't prepare for everything, but yeah, as I said before, you've got to be adaptable and not get down about it. So
And does it come from experience that you just get used to allowing for certain things along the way?
I think so, definitely. And sometimes you might lose the job because the other guy hasn't estimated for that, and you go, look, mate, like that's definitely going to happen. But yeah, you got to stick to your guns when you're estimating, and making sure that you've allowed for as much as possible. So
Yeah, I think it just comes down to experience and learning the hard way. There's no magic formula or lesson or magic book you can read or software. Like at the end of the day, it just comes down to experience.
yeah, that's exactly right. But and at the same time, not two houses on the street are the same, because not everybody builds the same. So yeah, you've just got to do your best.
Now, you mentioned before this Unley project, which looks thoroughly impressive. So tell me about that project.
So as I was saying before, it's a mid-century modern house, so designed around a big oak tree out the back. So yeah, we had not a few problems, but yeah, we had to really work around that, working with the arborist and the council, and working with their restrictions because it's a significant tree in Unley Park. So when we were doing the footings, we had to tiger vac everything out, which is basically high pressure water getting sprayed into the dirt and then sucked out with a vacuum truck. So yeah, that was definitely a cool experience. And
So that's interesting. So, I mean, if you don't know what an oak tree is, like they're like a really gothic, classic tree.
yeah,
The thing about oak trees, root systems.
yep, definitely. So, and the roots always go the opposite way to the overhanging branches as well. So that went underneath our building. So everything was done in the back section of the house, all on piers. So we had to basically, if we saw a root bigger than 50 mil, had to suck everything out, and then had to shift the footing away from it if that was required. So having the arborist out there and checking every step of the way. So
So, all right. So, hang on a minute. So, explain this because this is really interesting. So, you're excavating around the tree root system.
yeah.
You use logic and you think the branch is above my head. I'll follow, the root system out here, but it's actually the opposite.
Yeah, it's the opposite way because it's counterbalance. So yeah, if you think of the
That's right.
scales, it's leaning over. So yeah, the roots are holding it back the other way.
Now, you mentioned Tiger Vac.
Yeah, so I that's just a company here in Adelaide, but yeah,
Yeah,
so
right.
they're just a hydro vac basically. So it's a big pressure hose, high water jet, and then they just suck it out with a vacuum. So
So this is to protect the
yeah,
root
the root
system. So
system
rather
could
than
hit.
excavate and damage the tree root,
Yeah,
you're relying on a high pressure hose, basically of water, to clean and clear away all
yeah,
the material to expose the tree root system.
yeah, exactly.
Say your footing was planned to go right there. What did you do then?
Well, we had to assess it with the engineer, and then also the arborist had to come out, and he was the only one allowed to cut the roots. So it's not like one of the boys could get the Recipro out the trailer and cut it. The arborist would have to come out and review it, and then we would have to assess it with the engineer also. So
Yeah, see, these are the stories that you don't see or read online, like the information, the knowledge. Like now you understand about tree root systems
yeah,
from
that's
that
exactly right.
project.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's something about being a builder. Like you just know it's just a broad knowledge of lots of different stuff and not in the high end space, not two projects are the same. So that's what I mean. Estimating, you've got to be hot on it and just remember, and the experience from your other projects adds to, onto the next one.
So, say you were quoting a job and you're in that situation before, did you have to allow for the arborist, or do you sort of say, look, I can't do that? That needs to come from the client on an as required basis?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we allowed for the tiger vacuum because you can work that out per hole per day sort of rate, and they when you've got to take away the sludge as well, so you can work all those costs out. But to have the arborist or engineer out, that's just an extra additional cost to the client. So
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. And, I'd imagine, well, you don't seem too phased about it now, but was it challenging at the time? Were you thinking, how am I going to handle this? I haven't done this before.
Oh, not really. I thought it was quite a cool process how they vac it out, and high pressure water. You see them always on the side of the road, but to be able to bring it into your project and it's just another feather in your cap on how to build something. You're just thinking of a different way that you can actually construct it. Because I would definitely use it again, because the hydrovac systems into places that an excavator or a digger can't get into. So you could use that in a different space, and you can allow for that in your project to make it easier, rather than the boys trying to barrow through a tiny doorway or something like that. So it's definitely another way to build something.
Yeah, look, I looked into a system probably about 10 years ago when they were first doing this in Europe. And similar to where you're building these amazing renovations, the older period Victorian sort of era style of homes where you're renovating usually on tight sites. You don't have a lot of room out the back, and so they're these old Victorian homes from the front, and then the new extension out the back. And there's some technology over in Europe, and I've seen it around here now, but they're basically high pressure vac trucks
Mm,
that allow you, instead of excavating and having to load a truck or double handle material, you're able to just basically open the roof cavity up or put a boom over the top of the building like you would with a concrete pump, and excavate the material through vacuuming it up, as opposed to hydraulic excavation, which is a lot more efficient, providing you're able to suck up
mm.
large volumes of material.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they use it a lot for underpinning now. So the contractor that we use a lot for underpinning uses as a hydrovac system all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely an emerging sort of space as technologies advance, where you can have a lot more high pressure pumps and things like that. And then the beauty of these things is you suck it basically straight into the truck. You can fit 5 or 6 cubic meters of material at a time in the back of the truck, and they just take it away and then pump it back out the other end.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
So it's
smart.
a lot more efficient, as
Yeah,
opposed to
definitely. It's good on the
trying to,
back.
yeah, or get a little Kenga down the side. You've got to excavate it once, then you've got to take it out the back with your little Kenga, then load it again into the back of the truck, and then tip it at the other end. Like, it's so inefficient when you can do these
Yeah,
sorts of emerging technologies.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
So you don't strike me as coming across as someone that has been faced with a difficult problem. But have you ever had any issues on sites where you think, "Geez, this is a really tough situation. How am I going to get out of this one?"
It would definitely would be fences and neighbours is always the fun one. you know, their worst enemy straight away as soon as you go, oh, the fence is in the wrong spot, and they go, right, I don't like you. So yeah, it's not good to get on the wrong foot with them. So it's definitely a difficult topic when they don't believe a survey plan from a registered survey operator, and then they go and spend the money on the exact same thing again. So yeah, it's always a fun topic at the start of the project to become the mediator, the international translator between the two parties. Yeah, so
Yeah, you get blamed. It's all your fault as
yeah,
the builder.
yeah, that's right, exactly.
The best thing I love about that situation and that scenario that you mentioned is, I always find, no matter what,
Yeah.
and it might take 2 years after the job's finished,
Mm.
but at some point, the neighbor learns to deal and adapt and respect you for what you have to do. It does happen. It takes time, but it does happen.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. One job, we the neighbour wouldn't move the fence, and we only had about 500 mil to the edge of the house, so we couldn't get a digger down the side. So it was myself and the apprentice had to dig nearly 25 meters of stormwater a meter deep with a shovel, because we couldn't get anything else down there. So the neighbour didn't definitely like us till the end of the job.
Yeah, that's right. And it's problem solving, and like you
Yep.
said, thinking forward and trying to navigate our way around these tough situations that are always changing, and every site is always unique and different.
Definitely. Definitely. I agree with that.
We're seeing a real shortage in trades emerge at the moment, and there's a bit of a crisis forming in that. Have you experienced that here in Adelaide?
It's been not too bad for us. We try and use the same trades on most of our projects. So, yeah, they've been really loyal and reliable most of the time. So, yeah, it's been fantastic going through this. And I think building those relationships is definitely going to steer you well for the years to come. You know, with COVID and everything, people are so busy, they're going to pick people that they want to work with and they enjoy working with, because there's nothing worse than working with somebody that, you know, is a pain in the bum every day. So you're going to want to work with builders that you can rely on or that are organised. So that's why we try to be as good to our trades as possible.
The guys that look after their trades and pay them on time and develop these long-lasting relationships, that's what it's about. Going forward, you can have certain crises happening around you and shortages and things like that. But if you sort of future-proof your business by doing that, by looking after your trades.
Definitely. And I mean, it makes our job a lot easier as well, because I mean, everybody that builds, they build slightly differently, but if they work with you all the time, they're going to know how you think, how you want things placed on the job site, or how they need to leave the job site, or how they communicate with you. And when they need to get it done by. Yeah, it's definitely good to have reliable trades.
All right. So what's on the cards for the next 12 months or so with Wilks Building Group?
So we've got three large renovations that we're working on at the moment. So and as I was saying to you before, they're at first fix stage. So yeah, coming into the new year, we'll be cracking in and making sure we can hand them over by the middle of the year. And then in that middle of the year, we've got a couple of new homes starting as well, which we're really excited about.
On that, you've obviously got a decent pipeline of work in future. How do you sort of juggle or manage? Am I taking on too much work, or do I need to take on a bit more work? How are you sort of managing that?
Well, it's a different space, because I mean, every day, you know, you're in that initial concept stage with clients, you know, potentially designing their houses, because we're doing a few design and construct projects, and then you move to preliminary stage, you're pricing things, and then you're moving to on-site, and then you're moving to like handover as well. So you're in this constant flow of back and forth from start to finish, basically. So yeah, it's definitely a fun space. Some days you go, oh no, there's heaps coming up, and then the other day you go, oh no, I don't have enough, and then you go and find something and you go, oh no, I've got too much. So it's that constant flow. I don't think there's a middle that you go, you know what, I've got enough here.
Absolutely, point proven, and I think it's called getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and pressure makes diamonds, definitely, and I'm a big believer of that. So yeah, you just got to keep pushing yourself, every day for sure.
100%. What's it like looking back now on that sort of kid going to year 12, changing schools and setting about on his little journey?
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing that I've got to remember the most. Like sometimes I get really frustrated and go, you know, I should be doing better and I should be doing this and that. But if I turn around and look back and go far out, you know, five years ago, you were thinking you wanted to be at this stage, and now you're trying to push forward even further and higher. It's like sometimes you just got to remember where you've come from. So yeah, it's been fantastic to see. And yeah, a big milestone for us last year was entering a house into the Master Builders Awards. So yeah, that was a great achievement, and I'd always wanted to do that. So that was definitely a tick. And yeah, hopefully, you know, we can enter 3 in 1 year. That'd be even better. So yeah, that's what we're pushing for, definitely.
Well, Sam, you're doing some amazing projects and work here in Adelaide, and I encourage everyone to jump online and check you out. And just on that, if someone's listening to this and wants to reach out to you and get into touch and inquire with Wilks Building Group on the next upcoming project, what's the best way to go about it?
Either Instagram or our website. So we're just at Wilks Building Group on Instagram. All our contact info is on there. So hit us up.
Well, Sam from Wilks Building Group, it's been really nice to sit down and talk to you, and I really appreciate you coming on to Build Hatch, and I hope you keep kicking some amazing goals here in Adelaide and doing some wonderful things in South Australia. So well done to you.
No worries. Thanks, Aaron. Cheers for having me, mate.
Well, that was another Build Hatch episode with myself and Sam from Wilks Building Group in Adelaide. That's our final episode of 2021. Like I've said a lot lately, I don't need to remind anyone about the year it's been. I'm so privileged and honoured to meet everyday Aussies having a go in the building and construction industry. Like most of you, I'm really looking forward to the new year. and I'm very confident that we are blessed to be a part of such a resilient industry. And with the right attitude, the right network, and the right systems, the leaders will continue to lead. And we have some exciting new announcements coming your way right around the corner in 2022, so stay tuned for those ones. As usual, please check out our Instagram page and other socials where you'll be able to learn more about our guests and some of the features of their work that we talk about. Have a great week, and you'll hear me again on the airwaves next week. Thanks for listening to another episode of Build Hatch.
You have experienced a Build Hatch developed production.